We've got depression. We've got anxiety. I've seen these emotional blocks broadcasted as mental illnesses. Now, that couldn't be further from the truth as far as I'm concerned. You know, you don't think depressed, you feel depressed. And when you're feeling depressed, you feel fucking depressed about everything you're thinking about. If I'm feeling anxious, I'm not thinking anxious, I'm feeling anxious. And when I feel anxious, I'm feeling anxious about everything I'm thinking about. To me, they are emotional health issues, okay? They are actually emotional blocks that sort of ingrain themselves, scar us from when we're younger before our frontal lobe develops. The frontal lobe, 25, 26 develops for men, 23, 24 for women, giving us the ability to understand, me the ability to understand how I'm feeling, how you're feeling, and how we're impacting the current environment. Depression and anxiety are emotional challenges that we all go through in our life. Okay, they are not mental illnesses. And when they are broadcasted as mental illnesses, it makes it very challenging for people to acknowledge that they're feeling depressed or anxious at 10 degrees because they think that depression or anxiety has to be 99 degrees. Depression and anxiety being told that it's being broadcasted that it's a mental illness is like that it's a 100 degrees depression. You're 100 degrees anxious. That's not true. Let's bring emotional intelligence back into this. You may feel 5 degrees depressed one day. You may feel 50 degrees depressed one day. I might feel 75 degrees depressed one day, and I might go down and build all this shit, pick up my kids, take them to swimming, do everything in my life that I need to do, but I might have an undertone of feeling a bit depressed, or I might have an undertone of feeling anxious. Not that I do, but that just could be a thing, you know? Depression and anxiety are just emotional blocks, okay? And I've got this amazing chart here that I work with people. And what happens is that we go through the root cause, we go through an experience when we're younger, and then we have an emotional reaction. Just like perfectionism is an emotional block, okay? If you go through humiliation when you're younger, you become a perfectionist to protect yourself from being humiliated again, so that you don't go through that humiliation again. If you're like being a perfectionist and making sure everything's perfect, you're probably going to do a pretty bloody good job at making sure that you're not caught out and being humiliated. If you go through abandonment when you're younger, you end up expressing yourself as depressed. Look, if I'm holding myself in a depressed state, and like, you know, we don't learn this shit. We don't understand why we're feeling like this. So that's what I teach people. Emotional intelligence, understanding all of this. You know, like if you're feeling depressed, you know, you're feeling low, you're energetically and emotionally shut off, you're not making yourself emotionally available to be abandoned, are you? You're making yourself unavailable to be emotionally abandoned because you're already depressed. Like, the thing about depression, anxiety, there's 12 emotional blocks here. Resentment's one, procrastination, confusion, self-pity, anxiety, guilt, perfectionism. You know, these are all emotional blocks that pop up to protect us, okay? And they are actually gifts when we understand that they are the portal, they are the channel that we need to acknowledge that we're going through so that we can jump in the emotional backpack and empty out the emotional backpack of all this traumatic shit that we've been through when we're younger. And when I say trauma, you know, don't jump to the conclusion that it's 99, 100 degrees trauma, that it has to be 100 degrees to validate as trauma. It could be 1 degree or 2 degrees or 3 degrees. A lot of the time you are dealing with like a child perspective. So it's not going to be an adult experience of that. So to me, basically, in conclusion, depression and anxiety are not mental illnesses. They are emotional challenges that we all go through, and we all go through them at different like tempos, you know, temperaments, you know, different varying degrees. Someone might feel 10 degrees depressed about this. I might feel 70. They might feel 90. And that's all good. Experiencing any of these emotional blocks that pop up in your life does not make you a bad person or any less of a person. It means that you're a real person and that you've been through things in your life, and these subconscious emotional blocks just pop up to try and protect you. Once you start to understand how to navigate through those and release those, you have some serious power and some very sharp tools in your pack. Kia ora.